So we're going to stick with HxGN now, and we're going to listen to two of their leading people, Rob Daw, who is Chief Innovation Officer for HxGN Mining Division, and Andrew Crows, who is Vice President for HxGN Autonomous and Positioning Division. So please let me welcome you two to the stage to tell us what HxGN is doing.
There we go. All right, we'll jump in on this anyway. So this is just a quick introduction into the video as to what we actually provide in the autonomous world already. Not just limited to the mining world, but also anything that is off-road autonomy at the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything that is in that sphere of off-road that can be automated.
So I think we heard some of the challenges there from Nick and Maria about autonomous and what actually happens. We see it on the on-road space at the moment. We really aren't evolving or accelerating autonomy there as fast as what we wanted to or what we thought we would. But then we see in off-road autonomy, things like mining, things like agriculture, where we're really embracing this technology and the opportunity to really accelerate, not just from a financial point of view, but also from a safety point of view, the way that we want to evolve our industries and our business.
Absolutely. I mean, on-road autonomy, everybody dreams of having an autonomous car. It's super sexy, but where we're able to accomplish it, where we're able to get things really done is in the off-road space. And really, that's what we're here to talk about.
But that comes with a challenge. On road, it's easy. We have our traffic lights, we have our roads, it's fixed. We understand what's actually in our world. When we come to off-road, there's so many more challenges there as well. And this is why it takes an actual ecosystem of technology suites to come together to be able to create that reality, create that technology base, to be able to automate all of these different vehicles out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And starting in the mining industry and then growing from there, we look at it and saying, 10 years ago, there were a few starts, a few projects, a few prototypes. And then we came in and we started doing some projects, and many of us in this industry have been doing it for a while. I see some friends that I've known from more than a decade. And we look at these projects and we grow and we figure out what was impossible becomes possible. We start with 1, 2, and then we get hundreds of trucks. We started 7 years ago in Africa with 2 trucks with an autonomous braking system. And then we went to 1 mine and 50 and 5 with 500, and then we did it on almost every continent in the world. We've done Africa, we've done Australia, we've done Asia, we've done Latin America. It's amazing.
So what I want to take you through just quickly now is what is that ecosystem of technologies that we are bringing together. One of the first ones that we look at is around the 3D reality capture. And anyone who's been through the zone, you would see some of the advancements that we're putting out there. For us to be able to create that digital twin, for us to be able to understand where all of the different assets are, our roads, our stockpiles, our different infrastructure around the plants and everything else, this gives us the base map of what we need to automate around. And so we now have we have capabilities to be able to actually create these maps to load onto the edge, into the vehicles, to navigate our way. Great examples of from Adam around landing on the moon and actually understanding what is the terrain that you have to deal with? Where is the safe areas to actually land? And so by exact same principles are applied here in mining, in agriculture, and any of these heavy industries.
Yeah, super cool to see the way they did it on Mars is the way we do it in mining.
The next piece then, obviously with anything you need a plan. We need to be able to make sure that we have what are our economics, how are we actually driving to get an outcome, everything from where our resource was located through to how we actually execute on that particular plan.
Yeah, if you've got operational intent for your autonomy and you're not just making a prototype, then it has to fit within the business. It has to be part of the concept of what you're doing. You have to have your short-term plan executed through autonomy, not just a truck driving around.
Yeah, but I think it's changing it as well now. So we're seeing different ways to be able to schedule. We're seeing we can be much more aggressive with our pits in the way that we mine them. We can have skinnier roads because we can actually can choreograph these 2 vehicles coming between each other. So now we're actually seeing a lot better economics in some of our pits. And this is actually even opening up access to resources and deposits that we never thought possible before.
Yeah, when you look at that opening montage of all the vehicles that HxGN has created an autonomous solution for, and then applying that to the different mines, you can shrink the size of the road. You can use an alternative type of vehicle, and you can actually get to that ore at a much more efficient way. You can have anywhere from 2 to 10 times waste, the dirt above the ore, to get to the ore you're after. And if you can shrink that pit, if you can do it more efficiently through automation, then absolutely you should.
But it's one thing to have a plan. The next thing then is making sure that we actually execute on that plan and being able to optimize the fleet. So planning, we're able to optimize the resource. Next piece, we need to optimize the fleet and make sure that we are using these resources. These cost us a lot of money, these vehicles. And so being able to track and optimize is really where we're about then in this fleet management world.
Absolutely. The truck has to know where's it going and why is it going there. And by having this piece of the technology stack, we're able to do this in an optimized way. And this is critical to a manned, but just as much an unmanned operation.
And that helps us go through those scales from manned all the way through to autonomy as well, and having that mixed fleet when we have people in light vehicles driving around on a mine site, but also autonomous vehicles, having that same base technology really helps from that point of view.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Obviously then the next piece here is really around safety. We have to make sure that we are operating safely and using a base technology that has our peer-to-peer capabilities, has our V2X capabilities.
Absolutely. Those very first projects that I mentioned in Africa that we started all those years ago was just automating the braking process. And that was focused on safety. So we look at the fact that we have fatalities. It's a long day. As Maria mentioned, 4 people on that one truck. Those are 8 to 12-hour shifts. They're long. There are accidents, as we all know in this room. And we have the base technology to enable that in manned, and we take that same technology into autonomy.
And that is the final piece here. So bringing these different technologies together, ultimately we then can control the vehicle, we can make the decisions on the edge, and we can create the choreography in the operation to make sure that we are operating it in the most efficient and effective way possible.
Absolutely. And it's such fun to come to HxGN Live because, with a company with the technology stacks of HxGN, it's like being a kid in a candy shop. You get to walk around and see, oh, there's this piece, there's that piece, there's the safety layers, there's the survey layers, there's the digital reality layers, and then putting those together into a final solution or putting them apart in an interoperable way. Very much dedicated to the concept that we can take this stack and put it together and automate that vehicle, or we can take these pieces and help others, OEMs and others, automate their vehicles and do their processes. It really is a lot of fun.
Absolutely. One thing you got to be cautious there is you don't eat too much candy, right? Otherwise,
fair enough.
You get sick. But yeah, absolutely. And having these building block approach to being able to autonomy really does help us, so we can go through those different levels and we can evolve that with your business as well, as to where you're ready at, and which helps obviously in the change management and the adoption within your workforce. So I guess one of the other pieces though that we could do kind of miss in this area is around the tele-remote capability. And about 2 or 3 years ago, we announced a partnership with Hardline, and we want to continue, and we're strengthening that partnership here today to really create a stronger bond between what the tele-remote capabilities can do, and then evolve that into the rest of the autonomous stack that we have as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The tele-remote is a great addition to the portfolio, but it also gives us access to onboard by-wire systems that have been developed for over 200 makes and models. That just speeds up and scales what we can do in autonomous. It allows us to move faster. It allows us to attack new applications. And it's great working with the Hardline guys. Really appreciate the partnership and working with them.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at what they actually bring to the table here.
One line connects our present to our future. Our one goal, to to empower autonomy in mining. The one line that can take us there, Hardline. One company that enables fully remote mining. Operate any equipment from anywhere in the world. With Hardline, we reduce operational costs, and we increase safety, reliability, and productivity. Hardline is one path to accelerate automation. One line to achieve our vision. Our one enduring promise of a sustainable, autonomous future.
So yeah, very welcome addition, and I think a lot of our clients in the room today are already benefiting from a lot of this technology stack as we continue to push it out as well. So Andrew, I think we've talked a little bit about the technology. There's only one piece of the equation though when we go to a organisation. What else do we actually have to do to make sure that autonomy is successfully deployed at a client site?
So obviously it always starts initially with the business case. You know, what is the economic value of what we're doing? We don't have typically Mars level budgets.
Be nice.
Yeah. But when we look at this, we have to say, what is the business case? How are we going to create value in what we're doing? And a great example from the project that Maria mentioned, you know, where the average operator is 56 years of age, and there isn't a labor pool to continue to, you know, economically run that mine. So as we look at this, and starting with the economic value case, we have to understand, you know, what are the drivers of this project? Is it labor shortages? Is it a cost? Is it safety? Is it a combination usually of all of them?
So as we move from sort of the economics and understanding that, I guess then there's the next progression where we really want to identify, work with the clients and understand what are their problems that we're actually trying to solve and getting a better understanding of their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we look at the technical feasibility of the project. And this is looking at the state of the sensors, the state of the art today. And, you know, this is a constantly evolving space. You know, projects that, I try not to say no to a project, I try to say not yet, when there's something we need to overcome. And bringing the technology together for a particular project is a case of bringing the experts in the room. You know, a few weeks ago we were back in Perth and I had the team there and just looked around the room and said, John, how long have you been doing this? And Curtis, how long have you been doing this? And we realized we've been doing this for hundreds of years in that combined room, and bringing that together and understanding that the limitations of the technology today, what's going to be possible soon, and putting that together into a plan that's executable is really a critical next step.
Yeah, so once you do get to that implementation plan, I mean, to run an autonomous operation really does change the way that your whole business can be run. The economics of it, the people, the workforce, the safety, your standard operating procedures. So how do we then go through all of that with the client as we migrate through this?
Absolutely, and this is the critical next step, right? Because we talked earlier about why we're on off-road as opposed to on-road, and putting together the plan to implement it. You know, looking at the operations, working through the risks assessments, the technical feasibility, the stakeholder engagement. All of these are critical things you have to do in a project. Now, what is nice is when you're in an off-road space, like a mine or a farm, usually you can do this within the boundaries of saying, here is our plan. This is how we're going to do it safely. And does everybody agree? Do you, the manned operators, human operators, operating the mine, do you agree? Do you in the maintenance department agree? Do you in the legislative bodies agree? Do we agree, obviously? And then putting that together and saying, this is something we can do. And this is how we've gone from a few vehicles to 500, from one mine to one country to the world. And we'll do it again.
Absolutely. So I think that a great user case, an example of this is MinRes, and Maria touched on it earlier. If we elaborate on how we've gone about this actual business with Mineral Resources and their user case of what we're actually trying to solve, like what are some of the challenges that we saw in that particular use case?
Absolutely. So this is one of these where, in all honesty, 10 years ago, I was in Perth and looking at this project and had to say, not yet. I was with a different company, but similar challenge. And then when this project came up about 2 years ago, 18 months ago, we looked at it and said, yeah, no, it's possible now. And you know, we know, and the industry research says, when you partner on a project, not, customer, supplier, but truly create a partnership like we have with MinRes, it will be more successful. It has the ability to be significantly more successful, deliver significantly more value. And we've looked at this project. Yeah, there's some technology that we've had to invent to get through this challenge. There are operational things we've had to put in place, but we've done it and we're going to do it again.
Yeah, I think sitting side by side. So we're in the offices, we're working through the challenges from legislative all the way through to how do we actually employ this into the workforce. It's been a real eye-opener for both sides of the businesses, and it's something that, now we can actually roll out continuously into the project after project, and it's been a fantastic opportunity for us to, A, push us on the innovation, but B, push us on our processes as well.
Absolutely. I mean, autonomy is real, autonomy is happening, and it's so exciting to work here and be a part of it.
And I think then the final piece, like we talk about how here at Live, like there's so much technology there, but how do we take these different technologies from one industry to another? And how do we repurpose that? And this is a fantastic case in the road train user case here of how we've applied that technology to mining to solve a challenge of accessing ore bodies that are more remote, further away, uneconomical. But then we apply this into the agricultural industry, and then we're looking at how do we get grain more efficiently exported so that we can reduce the cost and ultimately, hopefully, we can get the grain from paddock to plate faster. So that's something that we always continue to evolve and work on. It's really the power of HxGN. How we bring all of this technology together to create a solution to make sure that we are solving the problems that you in the room here today have, and making sure that we work with you and hear with you on what those problems are.
Absolutely.
So with that, what we'll do is we'll wrap up from there, but I want to say thank you very much, Andrew, for that, and welcome Adam back up.